How's it going, everybody? This team, right? I mean, Kraken now on a 2-game win streak, coming out of the break, just keeping that momentum. We talked about this after that Vancouver comeback win, right? Can they use this as a springboard opportunity, build some momentum, get something going? They absolutely did in this one, right? They come back after that first period goal for Utah. Got to say that. Um, Utah gets on the board first. Kraken are able to come back. That goal gets disallowed, right, from Jaden Schwartz, who is continuing the insane tear that he's been on. Goal gets called for an offsides after the Kraken are in the zone for felt like forever, but whatever, that's the rule. Kraken able to come back from that, go out there, get a couple more goals, just looking fantastic right now. Just the way that they are playing as a real unit, but particularly that Matty Beniers line with Jaden Schwartz and Kakko, the stuff that they're able to do right now, they are playing like a first line in the NHL, something that the Kraken really haven't seen this season, right? We've had flashes from the Shane Wright line with Eli Tolvanen and Oliver Bjorkstrand, but it's been a minute since we've seen a team that's able to go out there, shut down top players for the opposition, and then also create chances the way that they're creating chances right now. Jaden Schwartz continues the amazing work that he's been doing since the holiday break. Comes out another 3-point game from him. Huge goal for him, right? Almost gets two, gets the first one taken back, is able to get another one later. Kakko with two beautiful assists in this one. Just good stuff from them, and I'm excited, and I'm so happy to see the team play well. Talked about it. This Utah team is a really good measuring stick team for you, right? Utah's able to really beat up on bad teams. But if you play with structure, if you play competently, you can beat them, especially as they're missing, top defender for them. Defense isn't exactly deep to begin with. The forward group is very offensively minded, don't have a ton of back checkers there. Bottom six isn't that great. So if you're able to play well and you're able to come out there, attack things the way you want to attack things, maybe throw them off their game, which it sure seemed like kind of happened early on in this one, you are able to really make something happen. And that's what the Kraken did. And I think that that's a huge deal because Kraken were able to, I mean, for the Kraken to be able to come out, play that solid, just like I said, have that top line look like a top line. It's just not something that we've seen from them. And for the first time, it looked like we got some form of consistency. And that's really the biggest thing. And I'm really happy that we waited to do deep dive until after this game because we get to talk about that tomorrow and we get to talk about it here for the next hour with all of you. So thank you so much for joining ECH Postgame Live, presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall. And obviously, this 5 o'clock start, it's only 7:52 right now. Wonderful time if you're at the game, if you're listening at the game. Walk the 2 blocks down to the beer hall, right? Like you've still got plenty of night left. It's nice early, only 8 o'clock, and go to the beer hall, have some fun, have a celebratory pretzel. And also, if you're going to be in the area tomorrow for New Year's, they do have their New Year's. What are they calling it? Buckets, bowls, and beers opportunity tomorrow to watch the bowl games there. They got deals, $20 off Corona buckets for your table. You can go there, have a good time, watch some football, and then celebrate New Year's at Queen Anne Beer Hall. So I want to thank them for sponsoring as always. And we'll be jumping in with the super chats. First one here, Schultz. Kakko, the Christmas gift that keeps giving. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, Schultz. It's going to be getting the New Year's before any of us. So let us know how it is. But Kakko, absolutely looking like the player that really all along he's been wanting to prove that he can be. And he's wanted the opportunity to be in a top six, wanted the opportunity to play big minutes. I'm trying to see what his actual ice time ended up being in this one. But he's wanted this opportunity since being drafted second overall. Never was given it in New York. We talked about that when they brought him in, that he's just a guy who really kind of needed that. Yes, just a hair under 17 minutes for Kakko tonight. If the Kraken are able to give him that opportunity, let him play with a good player in Jaden Schwartz, who's also going to be kind of always around net front and be able to kind of put in some of the forechecking work to open up Kakko so he doesn't have to be that third line bruiser that he was in New York. he has skill, right? There is a reason he was a second overall pick. There's a reason that he had that draft pedigree and that he was valued so highly around the league beyond the defensive acumen, beyond the forechecking capabilities that he has. It's because he has some skill and he's able to show it now in this role with the Kraken. And I think the biggest thing is not only does he get the 2 assists in this one, his net front presence has definitely opened things up for Matty Beniers in the way that we wanted it to. But like Matty Beniers has actually responded to it, right? And I know that, we talked about this, Matty Beniers needing maybe a power forward, kind of clog up the defense, especially net front, provide Matty Beniers a little bit more time and space in the interior, in the slot. That's maybe what Matty needs to get going. The fact that Matty has responded as well as he has, and look, these last 2 games, he scored twice. They're not the best skill goals, right? I'm not going to make that argument. He got one that Thatcher Demko probably should have had, got one in this one where Natty's just kind of throwing it to the net front and goes in through Vamelka's legs. Matty's below the goal line. These are not like, traditional goal scorers goals, but it shows that Matty is thinking that way, right? He's throwing more pucks on net like the Thatcher Demko one. He's thinking about, hey, I'm going to have somebody net front playing with Jaden Schwartz and Kakko. Let me make that play. When my initial shot kind of gets rubbed out and it's not able to go on net and it goes beneath the goal line, let me go collect it and let me immediately turn it around, try to throw it out to the crease because I'm going to have somebody there. He's not been able to do that really throughout his NHL career so far with the Seattle Kraken because he hasn't had the ability to kind of dependably know that somebody is going to be there for him. Kakko and then also Jaden Schwartz now being on that line with them has really kind of given Matty Beniers that confidence that he's going to have somebody there. It has opened up opportunities. He has generated some grade A chances in these last 2 games and really since Kakko got there. So I'm with you, Schultz. He is the Xmas gift that keeps on giving. Light here with the super chat. Hello from Orlando. Hope you're having a fun time there for the holiday and the new year there, Light. That's awesome. First, Kakko is 23. That's right. Kakko, again, young player, just needed the opportunity. Kraken giving it to him. He's able to showcase a little bit more than what he was able to in New York. Second, Jaden Schwartz is often cited as a bad free agent signing, and I will never get it. Even outside of this current run, he's always been one of our most consistent wings. RJ and I are right there with you. Like, we've always liked the Jaden Schwartz. Always liked it. We've for the most part stayed away from ever criticizing the Jaden Schwartz contract because Jaden Schwartz plays a dependable, consistent game, right? In a Kraken organization that has had a hard time maybe at times finding guys that are going to be able to come in and play a dependable style of game night in, night out. Jaden Schwartz has been able to be that guy. Really the disappointment around Jaden Schwartz and his disappointment that he shares. And that's just, he hasn't really always been healthy through the length of this contract. And that's maybe a thing you could look at and say like, oh, maybe they didn't get enough out of him for the free agent deal, but that's not his fault. It's out of anybody's hands that he's had the injury luck that he's had. Jaden Schwartz is a guy and he plays a style of game that we've been talking about. I mean, all through last season, through the beginning parts of this season. This is what the Kraken need, right? Go to the net front. That's where good things happen. Throw pucks at net. You never know what's going to happen, right? Matty gets that goal from below the goal line in this one. Jaden Schwartz was able to get one himself last game. These are the kinds of things that need to happen if you are the Seattle Kraken. And Jaden Schwartz plays that way each and every night with consistency. He has been a heck of a leader, and especially these last 2 games, as he has had on display that ability to kind of be a game-breaking and game-changing player where he is just going to say, I'm not going to lose tonight, and go out there, get a big goal, able to rally the troops around him. Just that's what the Kraken have needed, right? We've talked about this for a long time. They don't have that kind of superstar who can take over a game. I don't know that Jaden Schwartz can keep this up for, say, the rest of the season, but as long as he does, the Kraken really need it. And if he's able to inspire a Matty Beniers or a Shane Wright, or really any of the young guys, Kakko in this lineup to kind of learn from that, feed off of that, pick up a little bit of it, that's absolutely huge. And that's huge from a leadership standpoint, too. Everything he's doing right now is just absolutely incredible. Sean here. Let's start the groundswell for Yeti/Kraken Stadium Series 2026 in Salt Lake. Kraken looked really solid tonight. Kakko is a beast. We've talked about Kakko. Let's talk about the potential rivalry here, as Everett Fitzhugh was calling it on the television broadcast, right? It does look like Utah and Seattle. They're starting it already, right? Starting it early. First period, you have the disallowed Jaden Schwartz goal, right? It gets called back, I should say, off the Utah challenge. But right after that goal is scored, and really the sequence leading up to that goal, you have Logan Cooley and Vince Dunn very much engaged with some shenanigans there. Logan Cooley kind of holding on to Vince Dunn's stick, drags Vince Dunn down. Vince Dunn doesn't take kindly to that, gives him a shot. They kind of get into it a little bit after the Jaden Schwartz goal gets scored. That escalates into a full-on kind of brawl situation between the two guys. Lots of penalties end up coming from it. I think even to a decent win there for the Kraken, actually able to get some guys off for Utah. But that kind of bad blood never really disappeared. It never boiled over in anything, right? Because the game was close, and it was close through a lot of it, right? The Kraken started to pull away late there in the third, but by then it's one of those, like, they didn't pull away enough that it would really escalate into anything bad, and it happened so late that Utah's probably not going to do something like that. They don't really have guys like that on their team the way, say, an Anaheim would probably let that game devolve into something that doesn't totally resemble hockey anymore. Utah's not going to do that. But it laid a foundation for a pretty healthy physical rivalry. It created some bad blood between two guys that are going to be with these respective franchises for a while. Logan Cooley's going to be in Utah for a long time. Vince Dunn is going to be with Seattle for the foreseeable future. I do like that, right? The Kraken haven't really developed a ton of that, where it's just like, going into a game, hey, this matchup, sparks are going to fly. We're going to see some stuff. And I think that is an element of hockey that the Kraken have kind of missed so far through their first four seasons. I would not hate it if it was with the Utah Hockey Club. Another team in the Western Conference going to be able to face them 3 times a year. I think that would be a lot of fun. And yeah, if you're able to really make something of it, I'm sure the NHL would love to do something in Salt Lake City. Oh, that would be a dream for a lot of people within the league. So I'm right there with you, Sean. And then Edward here, the Schwartz is strong with this team. Go Kraken. I love the reference, Edward. You know that. Appreciate the super chat. And it is. Jaden Schwartz is playing out of his mind right now. Best sequence of hockey that we've seen him play as a Seattle Kraken. I'll go ahead and say that. I know he's had some other sequences. Nobody has really ever put the team on their back the way Jaden Schwartz has kind of through these last 2 games as a forward anyway. We've maybe seen Vince Dunn do it at times. We've maybe seen Joey or Martin Jones, if you go back to year 2, a goaltender, do it. I can't recall the last time a forward has really just come out there and you can just tell, puts his foot in the ground and just says, enough, we're winning, and goes out there and not only plays well himself, but elevates everybody around him. Like I said, he's getting other guys going. That's the huge part in all of this, and that's something that is just fantastic to see. Becca here with the super chat as well. Appreciate it, Becca. Yanni's goal was a very Yanni goal. Forced the turnover, battled it through the neutral zone. Puck found him again, net front. That's what I'm talking about, right? Like, this is kind of what Jaden Schwartz activated within this team in the last 5-6 minutes of that Vancouver game. We're finally seeing this team play like a team that wants to drive to the net. And yes, the addition of Kakko helps that. He's a player who's going to play that way. But the way Yanni Gord's now playing, Matty Beniers is starting to do it. Shane Wright's starting to do it. Eli Tolvanen's starting to do it, right? He's been good on the forecheck, one of the top hitters in the NHL. He's starting to drive to the net a little bit more, and he had 2 good looks tonight. Just kind of got robbed on him. This is what it's all about. And Yanni Gord, yeah, he's always been like a net front guy, but for him to drive it this kind of way and have the confidence to go there, not only with the mentality of maybe stirring something up or just kind of keeping a defense occupied or maybe annoying a goaltender, but to go there with the anticipation of, let me go there, let's try to get a rebound, let's try to score, let that be my focus instead of causing trouble. As much as I love that Yanni Gord wants to go net front and cause trouble, the fact that he's kind of focused on goal scoring there now and is looking for the puck more so than looking for the goaltender's eyes or a defenseman, I think that's huge. And again, I really credit Jaden Schwartz with a lot of this, but it's something that absolutely needed to happen for this team, and getting somebody like Yanni Gord going. He's just so excellent in there. He's a great player in tight. He's always been that kind of guy as far as his stick handling, his ability to see through the chaos of like four players all whacking at the puck with their stick and just kind of come in there and just, get the actual touch on the puck that needs to happen for his team to walk away with something like a goal. To be able to see him do that kind of consistently now and have that be a focus for him again, it's big, right? I keep saying it's huge. I'm running out of like superlatives, or I guess I haven't actually really cracked open the thesaurus for it yet. But it's just I'm so happy because this is so much of what we've wanted to see from the Seattle Kraken. This is the style of game that we've wanted to see from them, and that we just haven't. And being able to see it, it just makes me really happy, and it makes me have a confidence in this group that I maybe had at the beginning of the year from wishful thinking or just having an optimistic outlook. This is actually something concrete that I can sink my teeth into, that I can point to as a foundation and say, that's why this team's going to play hard every night. That's why this team can win. That's why this team can go out there and score goals and maybe challenge for a playoff spot. They dug themselves a massive hole, right? I'm not going to say that like playoffs are now my expectation or anything. They've dug themselves a ridiculously deep hole, but this is the kind of game that they need to have. And look, if you're able to finish out the rest of the season playing this way with that style of game, have it carry over into next year, all of a sudden you start talking playoffs next year in a very believable way. And so I just hope this really hangs around and lasts more than just a couple games. They've got to prove that to me, right? I think their inconsistency has been the only thing that's been consistent with them for a long time. So I'm not like all the way a believer that it's going to stay. But I think this has been a great example of a lot of what RJ and I have talked about, and really the analysts on Kraken Hockey Network or Root Sports before it, what they've been talking about as far as the direction that this team needs to go, as far as play style and what we just were not getting from this group before. Jessica with the super chat. Maddie learns shoot pucks equals good. Schwartz officially a power forward. I've spread the word. Troger the Burninator 2024 can rest now. Love the reference there, Jessica. And yes, I'm telling you, Maddie learning to just take shots kind of from wherever, throw the puck net front, even like the situation tonight where he ends up getting a goal. Again, he's not shooting to score a goal there. He's shooting to send that up to one of his teammates that he believes is going to be net front, and they were going to be. That's absolutely huge. This is how you're going to be able to get Matty Beniers scoring more consistently and just becoming a more offensively minded player, somebody who's just going to be able to go out there and do that more often. Really something that needed to happen. That's Kevin. We need to keep Yanni. If the Kraken are going to go on a run, yes, I believe Yanni Gourde helps out immensely, right? Whether he's on the wing and kind of helping out there, or now being a real traditional fourth line center, but on a fourth line that's really going to be able to dominate other teams' bottom sixes, Yanni Gourde is an absolute asset. If you're not able to keep up this kind of play consistently, I think Yanni Gourde becomes a different type of asset, a trade asset. We've talked about that a lot. I know that's not really the direction you want to be going, right? Want to be going in right now, Kevin. So I won't totally go down that path. But I think you are seeing Yanni pick up the torch that Jaden Schwartz is trying to pass and play that style, like I talked about earlier. Maddie's starting to pick it up. It is helpful when you have guys do it and start having success, right? Because not only is Jaden Schwartz having success, Maddie's got goal in back-to-back games. Yanni picks up a goal tonight and has some dangerous looks and chances with his line. Other lines see that. Other players see that. Andre Burakovsky, you could argue, saw that, went to the slot, place we're not really used to seeing Berkey. Beautiful tip, and he's able to get a goal. Something is changing in that locker room. This lesson seems to be starting to seep in, hopefully, right? That's what we want. And I do think that having a veteran presence like Yanni Gourde around, who is going to recognize what one guy is doing and kind of be able to pick that up and go with it, is very important. And that is a reason that you do, need to keep Yanni around. And then Light here with the super chat. Did Maddie see Price's goal last night and say, I can do that too, It is very possible. It is very, very possible. Maybe Maddie watching World Juniors there and picking up something from the Kraken prospect. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just happy to see Matty Beniers think like an offensive player, a top offensive player, a young offensive player, the way that he should. This is the stuff that we need from him, and this is the kind of stuff that's going to really get him back on track and help him kind of reach the potential that we all believe him to have and want him the success we want him to have. So I'm really happy about it. All right, in chat here, Sarah, so much better when they win. Oh, absolutely. And you know what? We haven't even done. And I know it wasn't official, but I'm going to make it official anyway because I really want to drink this right now. And that is, we have not done lemon lime Gatorade time, baby. And I know we haven't gotten the super chat from Gregory. That's fine. Gregory can have a night off. Hopefully, Gregory was at the game and is celebrating after this one. But I've got the lemon lime Gatorade, and I'm going to enjoy a sip right now while I look at the daunting task of catching up with chat here. Appreciate all the super chats, but this is where it leaves me. Lindsay, it's still early, but Kakko might end up being Ron's best ever. Ari Bjorky. The Majoker, Lindsay, really? That is very early. I will say that it is definitely still early for that one. But if Capo Kakko is able to grow and develop and kind of blossom in a role that he was never given in New York, it's going to look like a beautiful trade for Ron Francis and this organization. It's the exact kind of trade that RJ and I were talking about for about a month leading up to it, as far as targeting a young player who hasn't really been given the opportunity to succeed or put in a good situation. It's somebody who also addresses their need of wanting more size up front, wanting a player who's going to go play net front. He really was the kind of picture perfect target for the Kraken as far as a trade goes. And Ron recognizing that, making the move, and the fact that we're seeing the fruits of that blossom so early. It's really fantastic. Fusion Mix, I thought the Kakko trade was an absolute theft on Francis's part. Sorry, Borgen. But like that stretch pass, who else can make that? Schwartz is made to be the net front nails guy. He always has been. That's the way he has always played for the Kraken. Kraken just have not always known how to take advantage of. And I love seeing all the love for Capo Kakko and Jaden Schwartz in here, because these are the kinds of players that the Kraken have needed. And it's not just that they've needed them and they haven't gotten them enough. Like I said, Jaden Schwartz has been around, although he hasn't always been healthy. But the Kraken never really utilized them. They didn't really have a system that could take advantage of them, or a way to highlight them as far as just the space that they create for you, right? And I think that's been a big part of all of this as well. And I don't want that to kind of get lost in here too. Yeah, Jaden Schwartz is scoring right now. Yes, Capo Kakko's getting assists, and he has that insane stretch pass, right? That very few guys can make. I mean, him and Adam Larson might be the only two guys on this team that can make a stretch pass like that. I mean, the way he threaded the needle through multiple guys, absolutely beautiful. But it's the stuff of, as far as, creating more space for Matty Beniers, creating more space for your centerman, clogging up the middle of the ice, being a better net front or bumper player on the power play, and being able to help generate space there for your unit. Those kinds of things are also a big part of their games, and a big part of why the Kraken can find success now that the Kraken are starting to actually look at those opportunities. So as great as it is to see those guys get on the scoreboard and rack up points and all of that good stuff, I'm just happy that I'm actually seeing that kind of consistent play out of a couple guys in the lineup, and that the Kraken are recognizing the opportunities that it affords you, and they're going out there and trying to take advantage of them. So I'm very happy about all of that. It is just a sea of Jaden Schwartz and Capo Kakko love in here, and like I said, I'm super here for it. I love seeing it. Afra, do you love seeing it too? Yes, she's got her little Kraken hockey stick toy that she got for Christmas. Do you want to be on? You want to be on? Come here. Come here. Come say hi to everybody. Look up. Look up. Yeah. There we go. There we go. Afra's here. Afra post game. Gotta love it. Oh man, so good. B, I still think we desperately need to free Jared McCann from being on Stevenson's wing. Again, is it the best place for him? Probably not. It feels like, what is that? Isn't that his second? Like his last two goals have been empty net goals, or two of his last three goals have been empty net goals. Obviously, you want him to be able to produce a little bit more than that. But look, right now, everything else is just working, right? You don't really want to disrupt the Shane Wright line. They were kind of back to having some more solid success today. They're being kind of tested a little bit more by Dan Bylsma too. He's kind of throwing them out there against stiffer and stiffer competition to see what they've actually got, challenge them a little bit, certainly challenge Shane Wright a little bit as far as the competition he's facing down the middle. I don't think he wants to disrupt that. He's trying to put that Chandler Stevenson line in positions to succeed, to find success, to get that Berkey goal. Like I said, that's a big deal. Is if Berkey's going to be on that line and he's going to start playing a little bit differently, if he's going to go to the slot the way he did, not only is he going to be able to get tips like tonight, that's not the most consistent thing that to kind of hope for, but if he's going to start operating there, he's going to be giving himself a lot better looks as far as having a lot more open net to shoot at than when he kind of streaks down the side of the ice and is looking at a goalie that can very much kind of play the angles against him. So I think there is kind of benefits to that line starting to come together. Dan's starting to give them easier and easier matchups. At some point, it's got to start working for him. But I agree. Right now, Jared McCann kind of seems to be in a little bit of a rut. He's still playing fantastic, though, and he does so much away from the puck that is beautiful, and I could talk forever about it. But yeah, I understand the kind of frustration there. And then got a super chat here from Angela Bug, the Afra tip. Yes, some love for you, Afra. Yes, I don't have treats, unfortunately, with me here. Oh no, I'll have to. We'll rectify that for the next game. Yes, we will. But I very much appreciate that, and Afra appreciates that, and she'll get something good after this for sure. Lindsay, I live in Alaska, so the discount code doesn't really help me, but I hope some people can take advantage of it. Alaska is beautiful. That's right. Kraken scored 5 times tonight. That means get the Alaska Airlines discount code, and it is to Alaska this time, which I think is really cool. And I believe it was Top Shelf aka Top Shelf Alaska there, which I think is pretty fun as far as, discount code for flying to Alaska, Top Shelf, top of the US there. I think that's pretty fun. Let's see. Veneers line looks like they're playing with chemistry from Amanda. They are like a level of chemistry that we're really not used to seeing from this team. Not gonna lie, it is something that we're not used to seeing, but it is pretty great. Jenna, what a fun game. Kakko got with his first fish yeeting. That is true. I'm really bummed that I missed that. And my daughter got to ride the Zamboni. That's incredible, Jenna. I hope you got lots of pictures and videos and that you're able to have lots of fun there. Oh, look, I have a wonderful assistant has been able to help me out. Come around, Afra. Come around. Here with Afra's treats. Here, stand up. There we go. Good girl. So thank you, Angela Bug, for that. Be 1% war. I see that red square in my nightmares. Talking about Chandler Stevenson. Again, look, the rest of the team's playing fantastic. I think right now, as they're on the 2-game win streak and they're playing this well, we can focus on that. David, you're not a Seattle sports team until you picked up some cast off from a New York team and turned them into something. Ain't that the truth? That really is a Seattle sports thing to do. You know what? But we will continue to take that as long as we can. RJ in chat letting us know that Matty Beniers got the belt tonight. I like that. I like that a lot. Like I said, he's playing really well. He's generating a lot of chances for himself. Again, he's scoring the weird fluky ones. The shots that shouldn't be going in are the ones that are going in for him right now, but it doesn't matter. He's getting on the board. He's playing with the confidence we haven't seen in a long time. I'm really happy for Matty Beniers, and I'm happy that his teammates kind of recognize that and probably know that he needs that a little bit. And I'm happy about that to see that there. And yeah, it must be quite the celebration because we haven't had RJ join us here, and we're almost halfway through. So I do like that. Schwartz is stepping up as the leader this team has always needed from Sean. It's kind of interesting, right? It's kind of interesting that we're seeing that from Jaden Schwartz, right? Like, kind of where was this before? Maybe it's just because he's really healthy for the first time. We haven't seen like a long stretch like this, or Jaden Schwartz put in a position where maybe he could go off and do something like this. It's kind of interesting to think about, but yeah, he's stepping up like a huge leader right now, kind of, in similar ways, maybe more effectively right now through this 2-game sample size, but in a similar way to the way Jordan Eberle stepped up at the beginning of this season after being named captain, as far as going out there, going to the net, showcasing the way that this team needs to be playing, putting his body on the line, trying to truly lead by example. And that's what we're seeing from Jaden Schwartz right now. So that is some good stuff. And Fusion Mix saying Schwartz and Everly were the guys who turned it up the most in the playoffs, looked incredible in the Dallas series. They did. They are guys who've been there before, want to succeed in a spot like that. And like I just said, they've really been the two guys this year that have truly led by example in a way beyond just like putting in a solid effort each and every night, doing whatever. No, this is the way you have to play. These are the hits you need to take if you want to have success net front. These are the chances that you need to take advantage of if you get one, or that you need to make for yourself because nobody in this league is going to give it to you. Those are the guys. And Jaden Schwartz is really stepping up in the short term here. Let's see. Some more talk about Jared McCann. I know Milo made the amazing decision to get last minute tickets and got to see Philipp Grubauer become the winningest German-born goalie in the NHL. The world is healing. Congrats on being there, Milo, and congrats on everybody being able to see that. Got to see lots of stuff tonight. Did not realize that was on the line for Philipp Grubauer, but that is awesome. Absolutely deserves it. He has had an incredible career in the NHL, and yeah, that's got to mean a lot to him. And I'm sure he's got a very, very large smile in the locker room tonight. And I wonder how he'd celebrate. I wonder if he'd go to a a local Bavarian beer hall. Just an idea. If anybody goes to Queen Anne Beer Hall, let me know. Fusion McSchwartz has that 2019 Blues energy. We may dislike how they played like a more violent caricature of the 2012 Kings, but that team had so much heart. They did, right? Like it was a brutal team if you had to play against them, but they were a team that knew what to do and kind of go out there and have that success. That is, in fact, something that they did. There is RJ. How's it going, RJ? Welcome in. This team, man, on a run.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I missed you up in the press box. That's the first thing I wanted to say. It was tough not having you here for this game. I'm sorry you had to miss it, but it was a good one to be at. And another big win for the Kraken is they were able to keep the momentum rolling a little bit from, I don't want to even say the last game, but the last 5 minutes of the last game. They're able to keep some of that momentum rolling. They get a big 2 points against one of the teams that they are trying to catch in the standings, which that's at the end of the day what they need to get done here as they try that long climb back up toward playoff position.
That it is. I'm very curious to hear what the team had to say. I got to imagine the locker room was a lot of fun. Dan Bylsma, all that stuff. But got a couple super chats here. We're going to start with. I did this earlier because I just couldn't wait for it. But lemon lime Gatorade time, baby, from Gregory. Berkey with a goal. Beniers scores of back-to-back games. 5 goals as a team in back-to-back games. Hashtag go for 3 in a row, RJ. This team is finding offensive success. And they're finding it in ways that we just haven't seen them do it before, right? It's them throwing pucks at the net. It's them going net front and really looking for those high quality opportunities, searching for rebounds. Berkey in the slot, RJ, able to pick up a big tip opportunity. It has been great to see.
Yeah, and that's the biggest takeaway for me in this game was that the message of having that shooting mentality and putting pucks to the net and then going to the net, finally, let's hope it sticks, seems to be sinking in with this group. And it's something that Bylsma talked about in practice yesterday. And he said it in reference to Matty Beniers, right? Hoping that shot that he took against Vancouver is kind of a lesson to everybody and something that everyone can build off of, right? It's not the highest quality shot, but good things happen when you throw the puck on net, when you have that shooting mentality. And I think we saw that a ton tonight. He even talked about it before the game too. And the message seems to be sinking in with the players, right? The first couple goals are huge, right? You just have a puck kind of thrown in. I forget who actually did it on the Yanni Gord goal, right? Where the puck, it's a juicy rebound from Elka. It's not a high quality shot, but that puck gets thrown in. Gord has the wide open net. And then the second goal with Jaden Schwartz just throwing it on net. Andre Burakovsky, he's in the right spot, makes a heck of a tip on it. And it felt like that mentality just permeated through the team throughout the entire game. That is my number one takeaway in this one. And Dan Bylsma after the game was talking about it. He loves that. He loves seeing that from his team. And let's hope it continues. I know he's going to be encouraging the guys to keep doing that.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's something that they could definitely use more of. And I just love seeing it. I said basically word for word some of the same stuff that you talked about as far as the lessons sinking in, them finally kind of playing this way, seeing the rewards that you can have when you play this way. It has been fantastic. The Mark Cast here with the super chat. My knockoff Kakko jersey just arrived from overseas and is currently sitting on my front porch. It's going to hit like crack when I get home. We won't tell the Kraken about that, Mark Cast there. But yes, Kakko, RJ, that stretch pass. I mean, only him and Adam Larson could make a play like that on this team.
I guess so, yeah, if you want to throw Adam Larson as the other name in there. But Kakko was on a roll 2 shifts in a row. He had a pass that set up a breakaway for one of his teammates. And he's really starting to find that chemistry with everyone. We did get the chance to talk to Kakko after the game. This is the first real media scrum we've had with him. And he talked about how great it is playing with Matty Beniers and with Jaden Schwartz. And he's on fire. You know, the guy, it feels like he can't miss right now, right? So he loves playing with those two. He likes the chemistry that they're building. And he said he also feels like his confidence is a lot higher than what it was when he was in New York. And it really having the teammates that he's had, the opportunity the team has given him has helped him a lot with that.
Oh, I have to imagine. I just love that, that opportunity, and he's taking advantage of it. And you know that he must be so happy getting 17 minutes in a game like this, playing with the players that he's playing with. And then that's Kevin here, super chat. Once Eberle comes back, will the lines change a lot? We're still a ways away from Jordan Eberle coming back, so you really do have to kind of look out into the future. You don't really know what the whole situation will be. Still a couple months from now when that happens. But yes, I would imagine when Jordan Eberle comes back, Dan Bilesman's going to have some real difficult decisions as far as where everybody's going to be playing.
Yeah, definitely. And Eberle, of course, as soon as he's healthy and ready to go, will slot right into the lineup. But we are talking in terms of months here.
Yes. I was kind of talking about it right before you jumped on, RJ, just Jaden Schwartz picking up the kind of, mantle or torch, whatever it is you want to talk about from Jordan Eberle as far as leading by example, and not just being a pro and going out there and, competing shift by shift, but really by being a guy who's going to be like, no, we're not going to lose tonight. And here I am. I'm going to lay down the gauntlet. I'm going to make something happen. Now you go out and make something happen, right? Did that in the Vancouver game. Vince Dunn absolutely was able to jump on board and kind of do that. Kind of did it again tonight, RJ, just as far as, look, you're going to have to take shots. You're going to have to go to the net. You're going to have to throw pucks from odd places in order to get a goal. But that's just the way it is in the NHL. And him kind of doing that in a similar way to Jordan Eberle at the beginning of this season, as far as going to the net front, trying to play the way this team needs to play to have some sort of consistent success. It really feels like Jaden Schwartz has picked that up. And then right now, just everything's working for him.
And I'm glad you made the Jordan Eberle comparison too, because it feels like Jaden Schwartz has kind of stepped up as the de facto captain of this group with Jordan Eberle out. And you know what? Right now, he reminds me a lot of Jordan Eberle, not just on the ice, but off the ice especially. We got the chance to talk to him after this game, and there wasn't some big speech or statement, right? I mean, he was kind of nonchalant about it, right? The success that he's having, how much he's on a roll. Almost played off the success a little bit. Just saying, look, we weren't happy with the way we played going into the break. We knew we needed to play better, and this is what we need to be doing. And so it wasn't some kind of, exceptional or super quote-worthy answer, but that's exactly what you'd get from Jordan Eberle when he was leading the team earlier this season. And so you are seeing that type of leadership style, I think, step up from Jaden Schwartz. And the other thing is, I feel like Schwartz has become, he wouldn't say it himself, and I don't know that Dan would say it either, but I think he's kind of become the conduit between the coaching staff and the players. The message that the coaching staff is trying to get out there, especially the one shoot the puck, put pucks on net, have that mentality. Jaden Schwartz has embodied that, and I think he's also done a good job spreading that to his teammates. I think he has kind of stepped up as the guy that, if the coaches are telling the team to do one thing, if they're kind of having a main focus, right? I am going to do that in my own play, and whatever else happens in my game, I'm going to do that one thing so that everybody sees the example. And in this case, it's having a lot of success. The other thing I wanted to talk about with Schwartz too, of course, he had the goal taken off the board on that offside play, right? And it was a cheeky little move. I liked that, the little kind of backhand. That was nice. I actually think it was really important for the Kraken that it was Jaden Schwartz that scored that goal that didn't end up counting, because you have the little scrum afterwards, you have a lot of the chaos, right? And that is a moment where things really could have fallen apart for the Kraken. We've seen this happen a few times before this season, and I think you and I probably had the same thought at some point, like, oh no, this sort of thing is going to happen again. But I think Jaden Schwartz, even amid all the scrum and all that stuff, was able to kind of get his team on board, and he didn't look shaken whatsoever, even though it was his goal that came off the board. He didn't look dejected. And the way the Kraken bounced back from that moment, Dan Bilesma said that was huge for this team. That's the big moment that he pointed to in this game as far as the way that they were able to respond to that goal not counting. And he said they knew it was offside for a while. I'm sure the video staff was in their ear telling him, but that's one thing that you have to know as a coach, then communicate to the players and kind of have everybody buy in and not panic. And I think Jaden Schwartz having scored that non-goal was a big part of it. Sorry, I'll let you talk. It's been a while, but those are kind of my takeaways there.
The first half hour of this. Go for it. I'm very curious to hear your opinion. And then I love kind of hearing that, yeah, maybe there's a little bit of that subtext there, because hearing that there is maybe a conduit between the coaching staff that you and I've been saying, right? We hear it from the assistant coaches during the second intermissions. This coaching staff is saying the right things as far as the way this team needs to play to have some consistent success, and really just success in general at the NHL level. They've been saying the right thing. We haven't been seeing it from the players. The fact that, yeah, maybe over that, winter break there, some guys on this team, Yanni Gourde maybe being another one, able to take a step back, right? That kind of forced step back, take a look at the overall situation, think about something like that, and then go out there, apply what the coaches are saying to their game, be that kind of example, lead by example guy. That's really intriguing. I love hearing that. Copy and paste it, save it for tomorrow, RJ, for the deep dive, because I think that's going to be a big talking point. And it's definitely something that I feel like Kraken fans should hear, because it's something that I think would, help as far as a lot of the stuff we've been saying with the coaching staff, but also really pumps up Jaden Schwartz and kind of gives a good idea of, or a good example of, some of these things that, teams can struggle with, where you can have maybe even with a coach as great as Dan Bilesma, as far as, talking to his players, it's hard to change habits when you're a professional athlete from one coach to another. It sometimes just takes a little bit of time, as we're kind of approaching the halfway point this season. Clayton, talking about the bobbleheads, RJ, I'm really, really bummed I missed out on the bobblehead here, especially once they started talking about the fact that it has original music composed by our boy Benny Drawbars on there, the sheet music, and Clayton talked about that here. I still need someone to sing the high part on the bobblehead for me. Can't believe I believe the Discord said it was a high G, maybe optional notes. That's just such a fun touch, like to have a bobblehead do something like that, bring in the arena's organ player and have him compose something for it. I've never heard of something like that.
I haven't either, and I love that little detail about it. Actually, Benny Drawbars just walked by here less than a minute ago, so it was good to see him, give him a little wave. But I love that kind of collaboration, a bobblehead, and just the attention to detail that the Kraken always put into this. And Nicole Shabazz, this is her project. She works on all the bobbleheads, and she does a fantastic job with every single one of them. And yeah, I didn't know that little tidbit until today when that came out on social media, and so I'm not surprised, but really, really cool.
Yeah, it's so awesome. Maddie, just joining, so maybe I've missed it in the last few games. Do we know what's happening with Joey?
So we got a little bit more clarity on that from Dan at practice yesterday. So he is dealing with an upper body injury. He is officially day-to-day with that injury. And then we also know that it was something that originally happened in practice the day before the Colorado game. And then during the Colorado game, I think if you watched that game, you saw it happen. Joey kind of aggravated the injury. It got a little bit worse. He was able to finish the game, but that is what he's dealing with. So it was something that started off in practice, got worse in the Colorado game as he took some contact in his upper body. And then at practice yesterday, Joey did not practice, but he did skate by himself before everyone got on the ice for practice. I didn't see him, but Dan told us that.
Yeah. All right.
Maddie saying another Maddie.
Yes. Colin, your question for you, Dylan, and I'm going to ask you, RJ. Can you grab the opposing player's stick if yours breaks or gets knocked out? Now, there was an example of this. Was it Bobby Ryan, I believe?
And Nico Koivu, I believe, was on the other end of it, too.
Yeah. And that ended up happening. I'm trying to remember. It was a penalty, right?
Yeah, I don't think it was called. I think they incorrect. It should have been called, but they didn't call it. If it is a penalty, you can't grab your opponent's stick there if yours breaks or whatever. But that one did fly under the radar of the refs, and so you did have Was it Ryan scoring with Koivu's stick or the other way around?
I thought it was Bobby Ryan scoring with Koivu's stick, but
That's what I thought too.
it was definitely those two players in a Ducks Minnesota Wild game. But yes, there is an example of that. And yeah, I couldn't remember if he scored, but I thought he did. And it was one where yeah, they were talking that it shouldn't have counted. Just fun stuff. But
Yep.
yes, in theory, you're not allowed to do that.
It's a good question.
Yes, and maybe referencing there was definitely one time tonight in the game where Utah. Now I'm blanking on which member of the Kraken it was, but there was a very obvious miss slash where Utah knocked out a Kraken player's stick, and maybe wondering if the Kraken can just retaliate by stealing their hardware instead.
Nope, unfortunately you can't. That'd be very interesting if you could.
Oh man, that would be
just chase a guy around the ice trying to grab a stick out of his hands.
Yep. People are happy to see Disco Light and Rave RJ again in chat. I'm definitely happy about it. Wondering your favorite goal, RJ Stratix, in here and asking.
Oh man, that's a good question. There were so many good ones in this game. Oh, as much as I love the Kakko stretch passes, it's got to be the Berkey goal for me. It's another example of throwing a puck on net from an area. Look, it's not a great shot initially, right? Jaden Schwartz talked about it afterward. He said he was looking to make a pass, make another play, but that lane closed up and he just kind of saw Berkey in the area, decided he'd throw that puck at him. And Berkey makes a great skill tip. You know, we can forget sometimes, given that he only has 3 goals this season. He's a good skill player, right? He's got a lot of talent to him. And that tip was not easy. The way he's kind of on his backhand, having to reach out and bring it back in, but he makes the play and gets a big goal. Hopefully that's good for his confidence. He was buzzing for the next 10, 15 minutes of the game after that play. Hope that can keep going for him. I'd love to see this confidence stay high.
The smile he had was just fantastic to see after he scored that one. I don't know. I might go the Yanni Gourde goal just because I like Yanni Gourde going to the net front, kind of, following the example of Jaden Schwartz and how that all kind of happens. And just the fact that that's your response after the Jaden Schwartz goal previously is taken off the board, and you're able to go out there as a team and actually respond in a way that we don't traditionally see the Kraken respond when things like that happen. So I like that one for that reason. Otherwise, I've talked about it plenty already on this stream. The Matty Beniers goal, just because it's Matty thinking about throwing a puck net front, right? And trusting that he's going to have guys there and behaving like somebody who has maybe a little bit more confidence in the offensive zone.
Exactly. And I love him throwing that puck to the net, even after the breakaway miss, which is kind of tough to deal with. Just throw that puck back on net. See if you can get the luck on your side. He's finally getting the bounces, Dylan. We talked about him being unlucky. The luck is certainly evening out. You look at the 2 goals he has scored. I think you could probably factor luck in there quite a bit, but that's fine. It just evens out.
Yep. Got a super chat here from Jeremiah, a good friend. Kakko looks great, boys. Great spot on the show, RJ. You guys are killing it. Hope you guys have had a wonderful holiday. Have a happy new year. You as well, Jeremiah, up there in Alaska. The location for tonight's Alaska Airlines 32% off.
Yes, I was there. They making that announcement pretty much at the end of the game, right? Because of that 5th goal. So yeah, if anyone wants to go up to Alaska, get your tickets now. Alaska Airlines is giving you a good deal on those. And yeah, Jeremiah, it was awesome to hop on your show. I mean, really, it was the day of that Kakko trade. It was kind of the first chance I really got to go give a reaction. So always enjoy hopping on there when I get the chance. And it's always a fun time.
Yep. Stratic talking about that Jaden Schwartz goal that got called back. I think it helps that the no goal was so pretty. If it was a goal on a bit of a bounce, then maybe you feel like things aren't going your way. But when you score a pretty team goal, it feels replicable. Well, it's one of the words I can't say, but I know what you're talking about. You can replicate it.
Exactly. And you almost had it there, Dylan. Just like the almost goal. It was just called back, the word was, at the last second. But I agree with that. And I think it's one thing too. The other reason the way that goal happened, right, is it's a pretty goal, but it also comes on the power play, and it also comes after you're having a really good looking power play after another really good looking power play where you didn't score, but you did just about everything besides score. And that's another element I wanted to talk about, because yesterday at practice, I got there earlier before everything started, and on rink 2, they had some players come out, and we were all kind of looking at each other like, this group looks a little light. Like they're missing like half the guys on the team. What's going on here? And then after a minute, we realized, of course, it was Allison Lucan who figured this out because she's very smart. She said, wait a sec, that's just the power play groups. Because they were all just huddled up looking at the whiteboard. And they were working with Jess Campbell, just the power play for the first like 15 to 20 minutes. They spent a lot of time just on the power play. And at the beginning of it, not without even defenders, too. It was just the power play guys trying to use that time and space to just get a little bit more connected. And so I was interested to see if that would translate into the game, if that kind of thing would help. And oh boy, did it right away. That first power play I thought looked fantastic. And then the second one, they get that Schwartz goal. It ends up not counting, but they were able to use that, I think, to generate some momentum, both power plays. Where I thought, I don't know about you, I thought they didn't have a very good start to this game. I thought they had kind of a sleepy start. They didn't really show up on time again. But the power plays got them in it, got them engaged, and started giving them that momentum. And that all comes directly from practice.
It does. And I talked about it a little bit earlier, not from the X's and O's standpoint, but just the confidence to go to those areas of the slot, the low slot, around the net side, net front, all of that kind of stuff. And just the mentality to go to those areas, how it helps not just at 5-on-5 and even strength, but it also seemed to be helping their power play. Just guys having that confidence to go there, seeking the puck there. If they don't have a shot on net, looking to those areas instead of just looking to drop it back up to the point on the power play. Like those are all kind of new things for us to see from them on the power play. And I'm super happy to see it because it is something that needed to happen from them. And yeah, I thought they were able to get guys open in spots that we've never really seen guys be able to get open. Not only that, just the fact that they were making different passes instead of trying to run everything through the defenseman up at the point. It really confused the Utah penalty killers out there, right? And you were able to see guys, even up top of Jared McCann in his spot up, kind of high in the zone, have a lot more time and space than he normally does, just because of how you got him the puck or because of the other stuff you were doing before you make that pass over to him that forces those penalty killers to have to play it honest, have to play in a little bit more tight, have to protect the more dangerous areas on the ice. That's all. I mean, it's just all of the stuff that we've been talking about. It's all the stuff that we know the coaching staff has been talking about. The fact that we're just finally seeing it, I was really starting to doubt that was ever going to happen given how deep into the season we are now.
Yeah, I was too, but they're able to kind of put that together. They even just had a couple simple little passes to the bumper, back in, back out, just to kind of relieve the pressure. We haven't seen looks from McCann like that on the power play in a while too. It was refreshing.
Yeah, and the other thing that I thought was really nice was on the broadcast during the intermissions, they were showing in the locker room and they were showing Dan Bylsma. He both times he's got a whiteboard in his hand and he's talking about stuff. And then you see, and Dave Lowry's sitting next to players just at a locker, right? And talking to guys, and Jess Campbell's also sitting in a different spot in the locker room between players with a whiteboard of her own, talking about things with guys. Just having that visual in a way that we haven't really seen it. They haven't done too much as far as looking in the locker room, or at least looking in the locker room when the coaches are in there, so that we can really see how this coaching staff really does interact with these players in that way. I thought that was really neat to see. And, it just kind of shows that dedication from both sides, the players and especially the coaching staff. And the coaching staff really is trying to get their message across. It has been working with these guys. And we are now finally kind of starting to see that take hold. So I like that a lot. Let's see. Light, don't know if it's been said, but grew past the insert mean name for winningest German goalie of all time. We talked about that earlier, RJ, but Philipp Grubauer is the most winningest German goalie in NHL history. Title he deserves.
German-born goalie, and that actually, our buddy Charles from Circling Seattle Sports made me aware of that. Actually, before the game, he's like, "I don't want to jinx it, but this could happen tonight." So I'm amazed he didn't jinx it. But yes, good for Philipp Grubauer. Of course, all the Olaf Kolzig comments are going to come in there, but he was born in South Africa, so winningest German-born goaltender. Congrats to Philipp Grubauer, and well deserved.
Yep, definitely.
And did it in 10 fewer games than that other goalie.
That is true. So that's good stuff. I mean, good stuff all the way around for the Seattle Kraken right now, RJ, as they look ahead to Thursday, where they'll be facing the Vancouver Canucks again, team that they are very familiar with. And I was looking at things ahead of that one earlier, RJ. Quinn Hughes, we talked about that game probably doesn't end the way it does with the Kraken comeback victory if Quinn Hughes is in the lineup. Quinn Hughes is not going to be traveling with the Vancouver Canucks. Elias Pettersson going to be out as well. So Vancouver's still missing arguably their two best players coming into this game. I don't know. That makes me feel a little bit better about this matchup because Vancouver's going to come into Seattle really wanting to prove something after the way they were embarrassed at home.
Yeah, they're going to be a very motivated team coming in here wanting to avenge how that last game went. And we saw in that game, they have everything that it takes to beat the Kraken. They can do it. It's certainly possible. They did it for 55 minutes, right? And a little bit more focused, they probably would have hung on for that win. They're going to be very focused, but also, like you said, they're missing their two best players. I think that really evens things out skill-wise. Their blue line is still a mess. We talked about it after the last Vancouver game. The Kraken can do the right things, go to the areas, go to the net, throw pucks on net, take advantage of that sort of thing and those types of plays. Like, they should be okay. They should be able to hang with this Vancouver team. It's going to be a good test of which team wants it more, because it's going to be hard to want it more than Vancouver, but that's what you have to do.
Exactly. And if you are the Kraken, yes, you're playing great right now, and you're playing a form of hockey and a brand of hockey that you can have success with, and it would be great to keep the ball rolling and all of that kind of stuff. But like you're gonna really need to dig deep against this Vancouver squad because of how motivated they are. You gave them the ultimate kind of whiteboard material to come into this game. You gave them an emotion they probably didn't know they had until they experienced it earlier this week. And so you're going to have to really come out there and be a little on guard, be prepared for anything, but especially be prepared for them to come out and really want to win that game. Not necessarily to just like beat you up, something like that. They're going to want to win on the scoreboard, and you're going to have to, step up and prove that, hey, you guys are for real with this new style of play. You are listening to your coaches. You are going hard to the net. You are looking for those long passes like Kakko. You're doing all of the things right that you can. You're going to really, kind of want to display all of that. Last thing maybe here for us to talk about, RJ, was the defensive line blender that we saw from the Kraken. I'm curious your thoughts on it. I actually kind of like the pairs that they went with and what it allows the Kraken to do as far as deploying them. But I'm curious your thoughts, and if you think this is something that we're going to see at the start of the game against Vancouver on Thursday, or if this is something that the Kraken might just go to game by game once they kind of get a feel for what that game's going to be.
I have a hunch that maybe it's just going to be more of a situational thing, and they'll kind of start with the traditional pairs and then adjust from there. That's just my guess, but I do think the adjustment was good in this game, especially given how things were going for the Kraken early on with the D pairs and how they were playing. I mean, for a lot of this game, Utah at 5-on-5 was just dominating play in the offensive zone. The Kraken D weren't really able to effectively break the puck out, and there were some major issues there. And later in the game, they started defending a little better. I think the new D pairs kind of helped with that when they're in their own zone, but also it meant you're able to break the puck out more. You're able to kind of move it a little bit better. I liked the chemistry there with, kind of having some of the different puck movers, together and switching things up. It seemed like it was really clear what everyone's job was, despite the lack of chemistry you'd think would happen with the D pair switches. So I'm pleasantly surprised because I wouldn't really expect that from switching up the D pairs in game, but I think it was a good adjustment for this particular situation. That said, I think Vancouver's a very different team than Utah. And so I don't know that the same solution would work for the different team.
Yeah, I'm a fan of moving Riker Evans around the lineup, and I think that pairing him with Adam Larson's or Brandon Montour's is a good idea, and it does help him really focus on offense, and especially recently because it does feel like his defensive game has struggled a little bit recently.
Yeah, I'll say I can do that.
Yeah. I like him being put in those positions where he can build confidence. He can still play big minutes, but be a little bit more sheltered than when, arguably he has to be the guy on a defensive pair the way he is with Josh Mahura, or even if back when it was Will Borgen. So I like kind of sheltering Riker Evans, but still getting him out there against good competition and letting him still get those reps, but just giving him a little bit more help than what he had before. I like the idea of having him and Montour out there together because they could just keep the puck in the offensive zone like crazy. I mean, they're going to be very offensively minded, really move the puck up the ice quick if you're able to get a hold of it at all in the defensive zone. Going to get out of there and be able to go out there and get a change, which was something that there was a couple times they like really needed to do in this one, as they were out there for 2 or 3 minutes. I also like the idea of having a Jamie Alexiak with Josh Mahura as just a defensive pair that you can throw out there, and kind of the way they deploy like the Yanni Gord line, where it's just you're probably not going to expect them to necessarily do all that much as far as, moving the puck up the ice, really generating chances for you, anything like that. But you know that nothing's bad's going to happen, right? The other team's not going to be able to get going. If you have to rest your line that's really doing a good job of building momentum, and you want to make sure that the other team isn't able to build any momentum of their own, having Josh Mahura jump over the boards with a Jamie Alexiak seems like a really good way of going about having that happen.
Yeah, they have that defined job, right? Don't go out there and be a hero or do anything crazy. Just manage the game for certain stretches of time. And I do like going to that sort of thing strategically in a game in a particular moment and it helps guys just know what their job is too. Like when you're out there on that deep pair, you know exactly what you need to do.
Exactly. So I thought that those were curious. See the message in here from Pablo. Happy New Year's to us, and go Kraken. Happy New Year's to you, Pablo. Happy New Year's to everybody. Happy New Year's to our friends over at Queen Anne Beer Hall, sponsored this post-game live, RJ. Got their buckets, bowls, and brews tomorrow. Got $20 Corona bucket. Watch some college bowl games. Just saying, sounds like a good time. Probably you're gonna be also down there near the Space Needle for the whole show there, as well for New Year's Eve. Definitely recommend people check it out.
Yep, and once the calendar turns to new year, means new month, means new burger of the month, and I can give you a little hint ahead of time as to what it's going to be. It's going to be a chopped cheese. They're going like New York style, classic chopped cheese. I'm gonna get in there and try it. I think before the next game, before the Vancouver game, it's gonna be really good. I'll even post something up on social media because I gotta try that. I love a good chopped cheese.
Yeah, that's right up your alley in a big way. So, looking forward to that for you. Happy for you, RJ. Thanks to them for sponsoring the post game live as always. Thanks to everybody for all the super chats. Thanks to everybody for joining us tonight. We'll see you after that game against Vancouver. See how it goes.